Leviticus 17 and 11.
Yeah, Leviticus 17 and 11.
Then we will get Genesis.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood,
right?
And I have given
What verse 10 say? Verse 10 go into it? Yeah, go ahead, get
okay,
that.
Verse 10.
Yep.
Leviticus 17 and 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood.
That's why you wasn't supposed to eat blood. You're supposed to drain it out. You're supposed to drain the blood out. You're supposed to drain all the blood out of your meat before you eat it. Go on.
And I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls.
Yep, and he even quoted that scripture in the book. Go ahead.
For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
Which is one of the reasons why the Lord had to have his blood shed for the sins of the children of Israel, specifically the elect of the children of Israel. Then the rest of Israel, the 2/3. The 1/3 is the elect, the 144,000, and the 1/3, that's the elect. And then you have the 2/3 of Israel, which is the wicked, which they're going to have to be brought back in the kingdom. So the Lord died for the elect, that 1/3, but the 2/3, they're gonna have theirs in the kingdom when they're reborn. So because the Lord died for the elect of the nation of Israel, not for all Israel. So that shows you right there, we just read it, that they didn't eat blood. They didn't eat blood. Well, and in this book, if you watch the first show that we did, we was going into how he was going through the scriptures about how the Native Americans are Israelites with the name and other customs that they have kept. So he know that they're Israelites, that they had to be Israelites. So if he's assuming they're Israelites, which it's not like an assumption, like he's just guessing. He knows. He knows that they are. So with that being said, why is there so much laws of them keeping the laws of the scriptures? Why are there so much things they had them keeping with the Israelites kept in the scriptures? Huh? So they wasn't eating blood. Go on.
That was it on that.
I just want to get the red pottage part.
Okay.
Genesis 20.
Just go straight to the point.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Genesis 25.
So we can move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, Genesis 25 and 28.
Yep.
And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
Right here.
And Jacob, yeah.
You got it?
The red pot.
Right,
yeah.
go ahead.
And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
Yep. So it wasn't fully done yet. He was starting. He was cooking it. Go ahead.
And Esau,
he was boiling it.
Yep.
Go on.
And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage."
It was red pottage because he was cooking it. He was just making it. You know, he was just cooking it. It was red. Why was it red? Because it had the blood in it. I'm gonna read this again. When the English, page 141. When the English traders have been making sausages mixed with hog's blood, I have observed the Indians to cast their eyes upon them. Go on.
Okay. It said, and Esau,
with the horror of their reputed forefathers. Jacob is one of them.
Yep. Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint." Therefore was his name called Edom.
Yeah, therefore his name called Edom, which comes from the Hebrew Adawam, which means red, because he ate that red pottage. So you ain't supposed to be eating meat with the blood in it. Why the hell you think Jacob was cooking it for? That's because you should just ate it raw. But you damn devils like raw meat. You know? So anyway, it says right here that the English traders was eating sausages mixed with blood, man. You ain't supposed to be eating no sausages mixed with blood. You ain't supposed to be eating blood, period. So that right there is a cut. Alright, we done with that one. Let's get the book of let's get Genesis 32 and 24.
Okay.
Let me read this as you're getting that. 32 and 24 to verse 32.
Okay.
This is on the same, I believe it's the same argument, which is argument 12. Yep. Get this big highlight real quick, just for a second. Like I said, they could pause it on their own. That's good. They could pause it and read on their own. Under this argument, I observe that Ayube signifies the thigh of any animal, and Pata Tekale, the lower part of the thigh, or literally the hanging of the foot. And when in the woods, the Indians cut a small piece out of the lower part of the thigh, of the day that they killed. So they wasn't eating the lower part of the thigh of the day that they were killed, or the venison that they killed. Right? And when in the woods, the Indians cut a small piece out of the lower part of the thigh of the day that they killed. Like I said, page 144, lengthways and pretty deep. Among the great number of venison hams they bring to our trading houses, I do not remember to have observed one without it. So whenever they brought the venison to the house, they always cut a part of the lower thigh out. He never saw any of the venison that they killed with that lower part of the thigh. From which I conjecture that as every ancient custom was designed to convey either a typical or literal instructive lesson of some useful thing, and as no usage of the old heathen world resembled this custom. So nothing of the old heathen world resembled this custom. It seems strongly to point at Jacob's wrestling with an angel and obtaining for himself and his posterity the name Yasha'Allah, meaning for himself and for his seed. We get that in the Hebrew right here. This is Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew. Yasha'Allah. Right? What's that? Yasha'Allah. Yasha'Allah. Right? That's Yasha'Allah right there. He has perhaps Yosha'el. No, they know Yosha'el. It's Yasha'Allah. Alright, Yasha'Allah, divine guide, or one who prevails with the omnipotent, which means son of the power, son of the Most High. And to the children of Israel not eating the sinew of the thigh of any animal, to perpetuate the memory of their ancestors' sinew being shrunk, which was to obtain the blessing. Read that.
This is
32 and 24 to 32.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the break.
A man. And I was arguing with this dumb fuck. I'm trying not to curse too much, man. But this nigga, I saw this nigga earlier today. Some guy in the park months ago. I was just shooting around. First I'm debating with one guy about property taxes and stuff. First he's talking about the park, then property taxes come up. Then I'm arguing with some guy, with both of these guys about the Bible out of nowhere. And he says, oh, he started talking about Jacob wrestled with a spirit. I said, no, he wrestled with a man. I said, can angels come down from a man? He said, yes. I said, didn't that happen with Jacob? He said, no, it said a spirit. I said, no. Well, read it again. Let's see if it says spirit.
Genesis 32 and 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man,
See a man. Go ahead.
with him until the breaking of the day.
Yep.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint,
Which goes into what we just read. Go ahead.
as he wrestled with him.
Yep.
And he said,
Try to be a little faster.
And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said
That's
unto
what Jacob said to the angel. Go on.
And he said unto him, what is thy name? And
Yep.
he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob,
Jacob, which means supplanter. Go ahead.
but Israel.
Yep.
For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men. And he
That goes to show you how
prevailed.
strong our forefathers were. They wrestled.
Yep.
Like he wrestled with an angel and they say he had prevailed. That's why I said one who prevails with the omnipotent. Omnipotent means all powerful, but he wrestled with the angel. Go ahead. Which was the power. Elohim, which means powers in the Hebrew. Go ahead.
And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed me, and he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for I have seen the Most High face to face, and my life is preserved.
Go ahead.
And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew.
You just read that right here, man. Right? You just read it right here. Therefore the children of Israel eat not the sinew. Ain't that a cut?
Yeah.
Right.
Romans 8 and 16. You know, it
Yeah,
says.
I'll get that after you read this.
Okay. It says,
If you know, I'm going to get it.
okay. It says, therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrink, which is upon the hollow of the thigh until this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and the sinew that shrink.
Here it goes. Let me get that real quick with the brother called. And since he called